Eric, how does Brazil influence your sound? What sounds surrounded you growing up in Brazil? Because we know metal bands like Sepultura and Ratas da Porão, all these bands was around, but as you mentioned, it was like not the trend. It wasn't like the big thing. It was like something marginal. But what other sounds were you exposed to?
That's interesting. I discovered Brazilian music more when I decided to, in fact, move to another level and in terms of playing, of course. And I said, okay, since I play power chords on the electric guitar, play punk or play something heavier, I will try to play that shit that is behind me. I try to play like the acoustic guitars with proper chords. So it came up some magazines and with songs, Brazilian, Portuguese songs that I could sing along and see the chords. Yeah. And that I started to pay attention to the quality of the songs by seeing that chords, that harmonic constructions, and I said, okay, maybe I'm not just 100% true headbanger. I now like popular music. Oh no, it was a kind of a conflict, but at the same time, it was fascinating because I was like opened my mind to this kind of repertoire. But my parents, they used to listen to a lot of Brazilian songs, a lot of Roberto Carlos, Caetano Veloso, a lot of artists, a range of artists that could influence, yeah, in my repertoire. But I've never bothered to listen like I was like listening to metal back as a teenager. But once I got the acoustic guitar and started to sing along and discovering the artist, the enrichment of the chords and the melodies, and how cool it is to sing. When you play a guitar properly, acoustic guitar, and sing together, you don't need a band to create an experience. I can send you links for artists like João Bosco. He only play nylon acoustic guitar samba and sing like a jazz guy, and it's fascinating. He doesn't need a band, and I that was like whoa, like a wake up call to pay more attention to the acoustic and to the Latin, not just the Brazilian but the Latin, like flamenco, Argentango, these kind of elements of the acoustics. It's also really fascinating. And yeah, I started to study my performance in terms of having a guitar in my hand and singing with, you know, playing proper chords, and increasing my repertoires in my hands in terms of chords. And my ears started to pay attention with all what kind of harmonies that. And I discovered a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot in terms of Brazilian Brazilian music. It's so rich. One day I will send you a link, few artists that you must, listen to. As a pianist, for instance, Tom Jobim. Do you know Tom Jobim?
No,
Is
I'm not familiar with it. No.
it's one of the greatest composer. He composed like Girl from Ipanema. He wasn't one of the guys who created bossa nova. He used to be a pianist, and it's worthy to see, to pay attention a point of view of composition. He was real. It's so rich. It's a mixture of samba and jazz. That's what it's all about. But also we have Heitor Villa-Lobos, is one guy who has played, actually, he used to play classical music, one of our Sebastian Bachs, our Beethovens in Brazil. So it's also worth it. So I discovered a new universe through navigating to the Brazilian things, but never like putting on the metal on the side. Oh, now I like the classical. Oh, metal is not a good. No, metal is gonna be always my real me. You know. Now I've learned to link the things, not necessarily mixing like as a creator, but experiencing the different universes and enjoying. Like you're from the south of Spain, right?
That's right. Yes, from the flamenco place.
So basically, that's one point. You probably might admire this culture of guitar or something in a different connection because you were there, you saw that, you see that, and you never, it's not necessarily that you need to mix flamenco with heavy metal. This is so boring. It's not about this. It's about experiencing the flamenco in one side. You can experience, you can dance, you can sing, you can play. And then on the other side, you can feel the energy of, it's completely different words, but you can also be there. It's interesting, this kind of things.
Yes. What feelings does Brazilian music transmit exactly? Uh, is it like we know regarding what is it, the Portuguese fados? They are like sadness, and is Brazilian
Oh,
music is it different? Is it does it has a different style? So yeah, what
yeah.
really transmits?
My God, Brazil is multicultural in terms of, especially with music. Yeah. Uh, but the key of the Brazilian music, I mean, if I said, oh, this is Brazilian thing, is the rhythm, is the African roots in everywhere. I mean, the African, because you have the Africa come, and unfortunately, as slaves, the African came around here, but the legacy of the black culture, the black slaves, is on the music, like samba or even maracatu or even every kind of subgenres on Brazilian songs is all related to rhythm, to this deep connection with Africa. And it's different from fado. In fado is also an influence, but fado is more kind of a dramatic thing, but influences a little part of the songs, a little part of the Brazilian things because it's totally diverse, my friend. But what, as I can say, I think if you see, I mean, I know that probably that album from Sepultura is kind of a reference, but if you see the groove of that album, the groove, yeah, the rhythms, it's influenced by what we can call the Brazilian roots.
You're talking
Yeah,
about the album Roots.
yeah, the album roots from Sepultura, right? But it's not about that. That was like just a musical project. But I think the Brazilian elements is more about the rhythm. The If I say, oh, this is Brazilian thing, it's about the rhythm, the percussion, the drums, the grooves. Yeah, we have lots of grooves on it. The grooves are everywhere in every genre here. Yeah, and that's different from fado. Fado is more melodic, it's more like singable, it's more poetic. We also have this element here, but I think what's fascinating more is about the grooves, about the rhythm, the sense of rhythm, the swings. Yeah, it's very characteristical, and
It is.
you can apply on the playing
It is
too.
interesting you're talking about Brazilian music and having the roots from Africa. I was doing a research a few months ago regarding tango, and apparently tango is is all related with Argentina and is rooted in Argentina, the actual rhythms from tango are coming from Cuba. I was shocked. I was like, what? And that's what it is. That's what it is. But somehow it was translated to the Argentinian culture. I was
Mhm.
shocked. I was completely mind blowing.
Yeah, it's totally and if you see the Cuban roots is African too. So Africa, Cuba, and then Argentina. It's like a you know flight connection. So Africa arrives in in Cuba and then condense there and then flow all the way to Argentina and then Argentina create another identity on that,
Yes,
especially in
it's,
that playing, right?
it's extraordinary finding all these things. Yeah.
Yeah, then yeah, tell you.